cross the line and make the decision to follow Christ. Because let me tell you, salvation is a decision to follow Jesus. And there comes a moment when you realize who He is and make a commitment to Him, and you are changed. See, Andrew later told his brother, we have found the Messiah. Somewhere in that conversation, he became convinced, and he believed in who Jesus was, and it changed his life. And when Peter came to him, Jesus changed Peter's name. His name was Simon. He said, from now on, I'm calling you the Rock. He gave him a nickname. I'm calling you Rocky. And we call it Peter. So it means the Rock. Jesus gave him a new name. You know why? Jesus gave him a new name because Jesus changes people. And Jesus will give you a new name too. We may not call you by a new nickname, but I want to tell you, Jesus will give you a new beginning. He will change you, and when He changes you, it is time to rejoice in what God has done. We want to see hundreds, thousands of people experience a life-changing encounter with Jesus Christ. It will not happen just by the preacher preaching sermons and the singer singing songs. It will happen when ordinary people believe that God can use them to have contagious influence on others. Greg, I'm going to embarrass you for a second. Probably not. I don't think I can embarrass you. But Greg, I asked him, if I could do this. He said, oh, yeah, preacher. But I knew it before I asked him. Greg told me this week it'd been a year since he got saved. Now, old Greg got saved. I mean, he got the whole dose. He met Jesus and his life is changed. Am I right? God changed his life. And I wish I had time to tell you. Maybe we'll let him share sometime. God changed his life a year ago this week. And he told me this week, it's my year birthday. I can remember the first Sunday Greg came. I can remember his face looked kind of like concrete. It was like, I don't know about this stuff, man. He was kind of hiding. And you know how he came? Because Michael Harris is sitting back there. Michael, raise your hand like that. Michael got saved, I don't know how many years ago now, a couple years, not too long ago, 7 years ago. And Michael got radically saved. Michael's life got changed. And he's got a story you got to hear. And he got radically changed. And so here's a guy working with Michael. And so you know what Michael does? Michael brings Greg. And so Greg comes. And Greg meets Jesus. And then Greg's wife, Jen, she comes. And I remember your first Sunday, you were hiding behind Greg. When they introduced you, she was going, oh, I don't want that preacher to come. And she's hiding. And about 2 weeks later, she gets saved. God changes her life. And I taught, you know what Greg's been doing? He's so excited about Jesus. He's been going down, and his background's rough. He'll tell you, he'd been in prison, he'd been on drugs. He's had a lot happen in his life and had a lot of difficulties in his life. But you know what he's been doing for the last year? He's been going down. He tells me about this place called PAR. I asked him this week, what does PAR stand for? He says, I don't know. It's a drug kind of counseling program. It's a drug rehab program, and when people get put in jail or in prison, they send them to PAR, and they work with them to get them off drug addiction. And so some of these guys are still in prison, and some of them are transitioning out. Well, Greg's been going down there, and he went down there just to meet with them, and then he started sharing his testimony and leading Bible studies, and he's giving Bibles away. He keeps wanting me to buy him Bibles, so he gives them all away. He's giving Bibles away, and he gave me a CD the other day. He's down there telling people his testimony and how he forgave those, and it's a great testimony. And I asked him this week, Greg, I said, how many people have you had the privilege of praying with in the last year have received Christ? And you told me what? How many? 17 people in the last year Greg has had the privilege of praying with. And he usually got a bunch of them with him, Some of them may be here today with you right there. He's bringing them with him. People that he's been influencing. And it goes on and on and on. And that's what God wants to do with you too. And He will if you let Him.